Hi, Aries. It's your weekly reading. I'm super excited because we're finally, it's so funny. Like we wait to make time, and finally it was like the Aries placement in my chart that was like, there's never a good time. Let's just do this. So much in Aries fashion, I have just decided we're doing it. We're jumping, we're leaping. And we have weekly readings now. So your fire signs will always be on Thursdays. They'll be posted on Thursdays. Also, this is if you have Aries sun, moon, rising, and Venus. But also if you have stellium in the first house, or if you have sun or moon in the first house, you have a lot of Aryan energy. Aryan energy, like Aries is strong. It's Mars, as I always say. We come through the door like the Kool-Aid man. Aries, one of Aries cards just came out. And so if you have sun or moon in the first house, I hope that you are watching this, because that Aries aspect of being in that house could very well kind of overpower. I only have 2 things in Aries. I don't even have a ton of fire placements. 3, and only 2 of them are like personal planets. But fire energy is no joke. So I have a lot of fiery energy, even though I have a lot of Aries energy, even though even though that I only have those few placements. Okay. This is a very interesting. Can I apply this to me? I mean, I can. I might like do the whole like I licked it, it's mine. Like I'm claiming my own reading. Oh, I'm such a dork. Okay, so this is the way we're doing this. We are, and also if you have your Aries North node, I've gotten a few, and I don't normally do that, but I have gotten a few readings. So we're going backwards because you get to go first on Friday Night Live, which I hope you're watching on Soul Navigation. And all the links will be in the box and all that other good stuff. But I'm gonna go backwards during the week because I felt like it. So fire signs are last of the reads for me in the week, but a lot of quite a few really applied to North Node, and this might be some of you too, because I just got my physical confirmation sign. So this is very, very interesting. Very interesting read. What we're going to do is the first row, it's 9. So it's 3 rows going this way and 3 rows going this way. This row is all you. This row is all your persons, or situation that we're looking into. That middle row is the alchemy, or the energy created by the 2 energies coming together. Spirituality is science. It's just one. It's like a fishy, the Pisces. The middle row is like, what are you both currently bringing into exchanges with others, relationships? Like, what is the thing you're bringing in? And that could be like something you're not aware of that needs to be healed, that you're bringing left over from a last relationship or even childhood. And then, and again, the energy that creates the 2 of you, because it can be so different. You can have 2 like wonky energies, but together you balance each other out. So the alchemy is gorgeous. And then And sometimes you have two good energies that fight each other and it doesn't create such a great thing. So I like to look at that. And the last row is my favorite. And I haven't seen this anywhere, but to me, as somebody who does, I have sessions all day with clients, and my whole purpose is to empower you, and not gas you up, because those are two different things. But the other person or the relationship is never the destination, and it should never be the destination of you watching tarot. It is about whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, or 20 years. It's about what you discover about yourself in the alchemy of your exchanges with that other persons or situation. And so this is the lessons. And again, longevity of the relationship won't matter. I mean, I'm going to read into longevity a little bit, but energies change and people have free will. So I don't overpromise and underdeliver. It's been a lifelong policy of mine. So we will look at longevity somewhat, and I'm always very realistic. I will be honest with you. But this is what divine lesson that was kind of like on your to-do list when you came into this life. What divine lesson comes out of these exchanges, this relationship, this interaction with people, persons, or situation? All right, let's get into it. So I kind of love the first card you're starting out with, and it's very Aries energy. It's the Page of Wands. So the energy that you are currently holding right now is a message of passion, big shock, Aries. But it's learning. It's learning about yourself, learning about a new way to approach relationships, and possibly an endeavor outside of those things. Like, you could have just taken something on that just makes you feel really good. And though I think people think that Aries is completely fearless and they never feel fear, unless you had 6 personal planets in Aries. And if you do, my condolences. In the first house. Sorry, I cracked myself up. You're going to have other placements that are going to sometimes temper. And fear is a natural human 3D conceptual thing that we all deal with a little bit. Aries does it when they're scared anyway. Right? There's absolutely a fearless aspect, but for this particular, whoever I'm reading for, this is, Aries also doesn't love rejection. And so whatever this is, you're going into with the philosophy of learning. And so in general, in life, a really beautiful way to enter into things, the mindset into which to enter into things, relationships, people, situations, jobs, anything, buying a house, anything. If you regard it as a learning, there's less anticipation of what the failure of it looks like, because you are in the student mode. It's something new in life that you're learning about. And so you can live in the moment that way, and you can just squeeze so much more joy and happiness, and less, beating ourselves up. So I cannot say how much I love that energy. And I do believe that you are doing that after maybe holding back because you don't like failure and you don't like rejection. But you have decided to go in as a student and just leap. And I love that. That's a well-developed Aries energy. So Good for you. In your person's person or situation, we have the 3 cups and it's in reverse. They are either getting out of a situation where they were an unwilling 3-party. They didn't feel chosen. They didn't feel wanted. And they felt like they lost out to somebody. I also feel with this, when this happened to this person, there were people they expected to have, like friends and whatnot, that they expected to not like the new person that was moving in their spot, and no one, whatever the dichotomy between them and their old partner was, they expected everyone to just kind of take like their side, like don't be nice to the new person, or don't love her, don't become best friends with her. And I think some of them, or him, and I think some of them did. I feel like she didn't only feel like abandonment within the relationship and it wasn't done right. I feel like she felt like she lost, or he lost friends in it as well. And for some of you, for some people, this is, I'm seeing a relationship between women. So your person could be just fluid, they could be pan, they could be bi, it doesn't matter. But I'm feeling a lot of feminine energy, and I'm feeling a lot of sting from that. And it literally could be that sisters and female friends of a male energy totally just adore the new man in his spot too. But there's definitely some energy here where there's females that broke some serious girl code. Whether your person's male or female, that kind of has nothing to do with it. But there is that expectation of loyalty that did not happen on more than one level. What's interesting is we have the Aries card, the major arcana, the Emperor, as the alchemy, the energy that gets created by 2 of these. And Page of Wands, Aries energy. I don't know if you've ever had an Aries like you. If you're an Aries, or you're an Aries moon, you've had an Aries sun pursue you. They're not shy about it. They're not shy about it. And that, because this 3 cups is in reverse, right? I don't think this freshly happened for this person. For your person, I don't think that's fresh. But it's when you come in through the door like the Kool-Aid man and make them feel wanted when they totally did not feel wanted in more than one way, it's Stella got her groove back. That they just showed me Angela Bassett and Tay Diggs. Not mad at it. Stella got her groove back. It's like literally like you blew life into, and you are feeling like you can conquer anything right now because you're going in with that healthy mindset, and they are feeling worthy of being chosen again. And it's creating this beautiful, I got the fire back. You know, I'm the ish up in this. Yeah. I really like that. And I feel like almost like a shakiness. your person is using it like oxygen. So just please be aware, because as much as this is just your natural organic way of being this person in your field, might be relying a little too much on your choosing them. It could just be temporarily what they need to get their own power back. But right now it's like they're plugged in. It's like their life support to get them back to health, mental and emotional health. So just please be aware of that. And the next row, as I'm saying that, I was going to say it could make you feel out of balance, like you're responsible for too much. And what you are both bringing into the relationship, you are bringing the Temperance card, which Temperance is about karma. It's about balancing out things. It's not just about like the balancing act in your life. There's lots of cards for balance. But, Temperance also has this enlightenment. For some of you, you really felt like you had it together, kind of like, I'm the one that other people come to, like I lead the way, right? You're Aries. You jump off the plane first. You do the reconnaissance mission. You're often a leader, right? And you go sometimes where other people are a little trepidatious about leading forward. You really want to sit in this student energy, and you don't want to be, so like the student energy is great. The student energy is also lighter, which allows more joy, and it allows less feeling of weight, which again allows more joy. You don't want to be anybody's Yoda right now. You don't. I don't know what happened with you, whether it could be for some of you that are in an older age bracket. When I say older, I mean like mine. You could have had kids that just went off to college or something, and you like, it's me time. For some of you, this is going to be, you just got out of a relationship where that person really struggled with a lot, and you were feeling very responsible for their mood or their mental and emotional health. And so, and for some of you, you have this Page of Wands, choosing student mode and choosing to learn and not put the attachment of failure into things, so you can feel more joy and happiness while you're pursuing something. That is absolutely the mark of somebody who's actively working on being more enlightened, evolved, higher self, better you. Sometimes when you're in that mode though too, everybody shows up at your door to say, I'm not happy. I see what you're doing. What are you doing? I want some of that. And a lot of people don't actually want to do the things that you did. Because again, Aries will walk through the fire. They'll do the tough work. And so not everybody actually they want what you have, but they don't necessarily want to do the work. So they just, it can become draining to be in that position. And for some of you, I feel like I have 3 different groups here. Some of you just have some newfound freedom, whether that's newly separated, kids are off to college. Some of you are just out of a relationship where you were really responsible for and some of you are feeling like you're holding a lot of people up, and that's not your job. And in your own involvement, you're in your own evolvement, you're starting to understand that that is not your job, and that you have things that you want to pursue too, and you need energy for that. And as much energy as an Aries has, bringing balance to themselves, and bringing steadiness, because also, Aries can stick their fingers in a lot of pies. Cardinal sign. It's a fire sign. Aries can be loyal or not loyal. It depends but I find that with Aries, usually at the point that they've like truly committed, like they're also not gonna, I don't find Aries really gasses you up. They're not shady. They are what they are, and often unapologetic for it. Because Aries is honest. Sometimes not with the softest words, but they're very honest. So that allows them to kind of like unapologetically be who they are, because they haven't lied to you. You put more expectation into them than you should have, because you want to be in that energy. They are bringing in the Knight of Cups. What's interesting is Aries is normally the pursuer. Now, there are exceptions to that. There are Aries placements that are going to be tempered by other, some people say like, an Aries will absolutely pursue you. And again, I only have 2 placements. And I don't want to give away what house my Aries placement is in. But it's in a house where you would think that I would really be a strong pursuer, and I'm not. I really think it definitely depends on all the other placements in your chart. But you're enjoying not being in charge, quite honestly. I just want to show you this Temperance again. They've got it figured out. They have the Enlightenment, see around the head. Whenever we see that in tarot, that's about enlightenment. They're coming in as the Knight of Cups. And this Knight of Cups, I call this the picnic with Adam Levine. Doesn't matter whether you're like Adam Levine, but it's that like love song, let me make you a picnic. They are pulling out traditional wooing. There's the love letter here. There's flowers. They rode in on the horse. They got the one arm looking like a desk at detention, and who doesn't love that? They are going to pursue you. Now, normally, I would say if you do that with an Aries, they like it, but then just you have to make sure you're not overdoing, because again, they're going to feel that pressure. And Aries can live in the moment a little more than some other signs. And what's interesting here is it creates this gorgeous Venus in Cancer, 2 of Cups energy for what gets brought into the energy. Ironically, this Temperance in reverse. What did I say in the beginning? Like, I love looking at the alchemy, because that could look like a wonky energy. And the Knight of Cups, sometimes I'm like, that's a little bit of love bombing. That's a little bit of like, are they going to follow up? Sometimes Knight of Cups is like that for the rest of their lives. We've all met that couple. We're like, where did you get them? That like every day, if they walk in and say, there's my gorgeous partner, there's like, they're singing in the kitchen or giving you kisses on the cheek just because they can't walk past you without, like, it does exist. But often the follow through is not that great. I know that I just addressed all 12 signs and the majority of you. Sometimes the follow through is not that great. Knight of Cups is like, unless there's other cards with it, I don't always love it. I know everybody else loves Knight of Cups. Not always, but I don't always think that that's like commitment. If you just want to be like, wooed and you're not looking, then Knight of Cups, great. But these two energies that I normally would be like, are creating the balance, because you need rest. You need to focus on you. You need to not, and they just like, there's a gratitude from them and almost in a spiritual sense, like at the core of who they are, you're healing a wound for them and they're understanding it wasn't about them. It wasn't about them. They're seeing your honesty. Okay, this is all coming in really strong. They're seeing your honesty and understanding it wasn't about them being easy to walk away from. It was about their person just not dealing with things honestly. And that person doesn't necessarily have to be the worst person in the world. The person that was not true to them, that's what their limitations were. They don't have a healthy style of relationships. They have their own damage that does not allow them to be honest. And so they're starting to understand. So they're not just grateful because you're giving them attention. They're grateful because that's a life-changing thing for them. If you have the ability to heal somebody from feeling disposable, or like help them to heal their own abandonment issues, because that's the most important thing. Because if you heal somebody else's abandonment issues, you also have the power to like make them worse if it doesn't work out. Creating the opportunity and the space for them to heal it, amazing. Amazeballs. 10 out of 10 immediately, yes. So I kind of like all of this. I have to say I'm at 10. This is number 10 of the 12 readings. This one might be the best, or it's tied for first so far. There's two things I don't love, but they're less about you. With that situation where you felt really responsible and maybe it was heavy, and which is why you want to be in this lighter energy. And I mean, I see you possibly walking on eggshells, which Aries doesn't love to do. They like to be the Kool-Aid man coming through the door. We have you sitting. Queen of Swords is one of my favorite cards. And it's funny because one of my dearest friends that I love, who also is a metaphysical practitioner, fantastic, but we read for each other. And at one point I got the Queen of Swords in a reading for her. And I was like, oh, you got that? And she was like, oh no. And I was like, what? I love the Queen of Swords. So it's so funny how each person, she's amazing. She doesn't read her cards wrong, and I don't read my cards wrong. It's just that our relationship with the cards bring a different aspect, which is really interesting. This Queen of Swords is what's ironic is like this just showed up at my house as a gift because she had gotten this deck and she loved it. So she sent it to me. This is my favorite Queen of Swords. Her sword is not being wielded. She does not, much like the King of Swords. King of Swords is truth, right? Upside down, both of these cards, you want to like run, Forrest, run, because they're just going to say mean things to say them because they can and because they want to, and they're looking to hurt your feelings. Queen of Swords upside down is like the worst kind of partner. But this one, she's at rest. Like she is sitting in her own power. She's sitting in her own truth, and she does not have to prove it to anyone. She does not pedaling fear, because like some Queen of Swords energy is like what I call duck on the water, right? They look real, like they're gliding, they know what they're doing, it looks good. They make it look easy and simple, and underneath that water they are paddling furiously, but you don't see that. This is not that Queen of Swords energy. It's not constant fight energy. It is not like I look like a badass, but underneath I have to fight for that every minute. What's really interesting about this one is she's in her truth, right? But there's like a cup. Do we see it? I know I need to get my nails done. There's a cup and it's like a little bit locked away on this, but it's not. Like she can access it. It's just tucked away. It's just tucked away. So it's there, but she's just done proving to everyone how smart she is, how everything. She's not interested in a partner that is going to question their loyalty all the time. It's exhausting. So I like that Queen of Swords for you, because what that means is there's been enlightenment. There's been the idea that like you don't have to prove that to anyone. There's been the idea, like this is what I call statesman energy. An old boss decades ago said to me, there's usually 4 types of stages that you can have for somebody in career or just in life. And it's the student, the professional, the warrior, and the statesman. And you know, I think that you have spent a lot of time in warrior phase, which is the phase where you have to prove you're not a student anymore. Because in that professional phase, you're just so like, look at me, I graduated from student. And then after a while, you get into that warrior phase because you feel like everybody's still looking at you as a student, even though you know you're a professional. And then there's the statesman. And the statesman is not looking to prove anything, and they share. They're not fighting for their spot at the table. They're helping other people to the table and enriching the table. And I feel like that's where you're at, Aries. Also, the fact that she's sitting here calmly, that's amazing for Aries, because Aries got ants in their pants. You know, yes, Aries has bravado, but Aries also has wounds like everyone else. It's just that they can often use the wounds to they don't look like they're going to be helpful. They don't look like they're going to be the most empathetic all the time, but they usually are. Now for your person, we have 3 wands in reverse. What I love about this for them specifically is what they get from their exchange and how they walk away doing relationships different. And the thing that they showed up in this exchange to learn, whether it lasts 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 20 years, is that waiting for someone to pick you is a waste of time. Now, if you want to wait for somebody, because that's just where, if you want to wait without pressure on yourself to be picked, whether your worth is enough to be picked. If you want to if you just don't want to participate in anything because you don't want to, or you want to have patience with somebody, that's great. As long as you're sitting in your power while you're doing it and you're not putting anything else on hold. Having patience or deciding that something is worth waiting for is one thing. Waiting energy where you put everything else aside and all of your focus is on what decisions the other person makes, is very self-sabotaging. I feel like that heals this for this person. And we're not going to talk about them too much, but in general, if you've been put in that position more than once, it can kind of create an energy that you bring in with all relationships where you're just waiting for it to happen, and it makes it not fun for the other person, and it almost brings it in. It's never your fault, but it's almost like you attract those people because it's what you expect to happen. And that's manifestation. We're manifesting every minute of the day with our thoughts and our belief systems about ourselves. You may have had some like, I'm out, and maybe unceremoniously left a few situations. And they have a thing where they just take, like I just got done saying, they take that same, the scars and the wounds, which we all do, but that specific wound they are taking to the next relationship. And that's not good for anyone, and not standing in their power. As I touch the cards and as the reading goes on, more and more information comes in for me. So sometimes the last row can be a little perplexing. This card was perplexing when it came out to the table. This is Six of Swords, which Six of Swords is not bad. It's one of the more positive swords cards, because most of the swords cards are not great. It's really just like the ace, the 4, the 6, and the 10 can be okay if you're just done with something and you're moving on. The rest of them, not so fun. I actually use them as my no cards when I'm doing yes or no tarot. 4 of them I use as no cards. This Six of Swords was in reverse. If you've ever watched me before, or if you're going to go ahead and cross watch, I'm pretty sure I say it in 1 or 2 of the other readings, and I definitely say it on Friday nights. But with the Six of Swords, the one thing that I like to point out is that you bring your swords with you. In this case, the swords are crows in this tarot. You bring your swords with you. You bring your relationship style, you bring your wounds, you bring all of it. You bring your communication style, you bring what you attract in, you bring that all with you. So please be careful about like what you're changing about yourself to change the outcomes and what has seemed to be a pattern or a cycle. So for this to be in reverse, what we have here is the understanding that if I keep going into every relationship, either for your sake, or let's do in their sake, just anticipating the third party, or that can hurt a relationship that had possibilities or potential. For you, 1, this is Aries staying. And also, it's about not doing the repeated pattern of being responsible for the other people. Scorpio had a very similar read about not being responsible for other people's disappointment. Even if like that's all you're capable of now, even if you are not creating that like perfect relationship environment, or it's still their responsibility to understand the limitations of the person. When you say, like I like to say, if you said yes to the mess, please understand what the mess is. And don't put expectations of what you have fantasized about what a relationship should look like. Or even like, not the fantasy of it. Like if you require A, B, C, D, and E in a relationship, and especially if that person has either been honest, like an Aries, or shown you outright, you saw it coming from a million miles away, but they said, I'll fix that. That is not your responsibility. that's not your responsibility. And there's a lot of that same, you're both ruled by Mars, by the way. Other people putting expectations on you is something you get to be done with. And that's the relationship. Think the swords that you're not bringing in the boat anymore. And you're both doing that for different reasons. And that's really gorgeous. I want to know how you stay in this energy. What kind of like healing card can you, because you're doing a good job. And sometimes like I had a huge epiphany talking to my mentor, who also my one of my besties. But we have conversations, and sometimes we have dumb conversations and we just laugh, and sometimes we have very, very deep conversations and they're cathartic. And there was something that I didn't even realize. Like I was looking at all these other things that were definitely part of a process or a learning experience in an exchange I was having with somebody else. And then all of a sudden, while I was talking to her, I said, oh God, this was all about this other thing. So I am actively always trying to, you are definitely somebody working on that. You are definitely somebody who's actually done some of the work. You're not just actively working on it. You've had some success and you've had like a big growth spurt, transformation, if you will. Release it. Cards don't lie. Cards don't lie. And like, thank you, universe, because every time that's what I use oracle cards for, is like they back up what I was getting from the reading. Releasing expectations. Only the highest possibilities come to be, whether I envision them or not. Keep releasing the expectations for yourself going into this gorgeous student energy and learning, and releasing the expectation that there's got to be success or failure with going into something new, because Aries jumps into a lot of new stuff, right? But when we attach the success and failure is when it's not fun. And Aries is fun. They like to be fun. And also release the expectation that you are also there to carry everyone else because you're the brave one. Nobody talks about that. There is a burden with being the one that comes through the door like the Kool-Aid man and walks right through the fire, because then it's like the Mikey likes it commercial. I'm really old, but anyway, so they just expect, everybody just expects that of you. Let that go. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I want to get advice from the universe, and we're going to use one of these. I keep saying I'm going to do 20-minute readings, and then like big stuff keeps coming out this week. Although, if you haven't watched the new video about the eclipse, the last Gemini Sagittarius nodal access eclipse that's happening on December 3rd, 4th over at Soul Navigation. I think it says in my description box to learn more about astrology, and it's just to go over to that channel. There's a lot of stuff going on in the sky that is just being like, okay, we're done with that now, whether you want to be done with it or not. So we're taking it away from you. And it's actually really good for you. But there's just been, all the readings have been super intense this week because it's all one thing. It all lines up. Again, so advice from universe. This is the Miss Sunshine card. And what this is she is quite clearly smiling and holding up everything. Do you see all that she's carrying? Again, absolute confirmation that like you are not, even though that you are the one that can and will, that doesn't, you don't have to carry the heaviness. You are not responsible. It's, how exhausting is that? Holding yourself up with a whole entire village attached to you. Don't do that. And we're going to take one. I'm feeling traditional. want to know when this person is coming in. We have Queen of Swords 3 with the bottom, but my sign for, and Six of Swords at the bottom, that's after the exchange has happened. So if I don't see swords in the first 2 rows, it always makes me think that there's not a whole lot of communication. You're not aware of each other yet. Okay, so you're not aware of each other. I got the Magician. It's all 4 signs. It's the first card after the Fool card, which for me is Aries. There's a lot of Greek mythology and Roman mythology. Like, people see the Fool card as different. Magician is the manifester. It came upside down. I think around the next full moon, which is going to be closer to Christmas, this person is going to come in. For some of you, that's going to be December. It's going to be the full moon in December. For some of you, this is going to be the first full moon of spring, kind of Aries season, that they're really going to come in. And you like them as much as they like you, because they're happy to sit in watching you get joy from the little things. It's inspiring. You're inspiring to them. You're inspiring to them to be the best them through their own efforts, which is kind of great. They're not going to hold you responsible, which feels really good to you. I really like this for you, Aries. Leave me a comment, and also, like, I'm going to make a note that I want to, like, throw that out there when I'm doing the reading that week, when there's the full moon in December, and the one again, I'll have to look that up and put it in the comments. But manifestation, Magician is it's the manifester, right? Create things, alchemy. New moons are for manifesting, and it came in reverse. So that's always, for me, the sign of a full moon, if I'm pulling for timing. So we'll have to check in with each other. Please, I'm giving away a 30-minute reading, by the way. Press all the buttons. You know what to do. You're already on YouTube. You know, the subscribe and like and all that good stuff. And please join me for Friday night. It's live. And while these messages are, I'm getting the feedback is that people feel like they're personal. When we're in a live together, and you know, it's fluid, energy is fluid, time is fluid, the messages will find you when they're supposed to, but sometimes it can feel super specific in the live because the energy is like palpable. And those are over on Soul Navigation. Again, all the links are in the description box. I love you. Now you love you. Keep up all this great work, Aries. Kind of proud of you. All right. Bye.